Join the Breakfast Flight Show every Monday and Tuesday with SharkyDJ and HPQ with the alternative news on GY Radio. We're back this morning. It's Monday. Did everyone have a good Easter?
Did you have a good Easter? Nice, relaxing Easter. Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what? It was so lovely. The weather was absolutely beautiful. And then what happened last night? The heavens opened up and the rain came down. And it rained all night. And during the night, I'd got up because I couldn't sleep. And it was absolutely pouring down with rain. It was killing it last night.
Jeez.
It didn't want to have any of it.
No. Don't you just hate it? But you know what? We need rain. So let's look at it positively. We need water, don't we? Because if we don't have rain and it's all dry, then we dry up. So, it has its good sides and its bad sides.
It does.
Always look at the positive side. That's what I say.
We try to.
Even though we don't want the rain right about now. We've had enough in it. Give us some more rain next year.
Anyway, so we're here with HPQ News and we're going to start off with a little bit of a discussion, actually. It's not so much a dilemma. It's you got a husband and wife and she does something that he is not quite happy with. So throwing it out there to everybody to actually see what they think. Now, his wife, is a gynecologist and she refuses to shower before bed when she gets home from work. And he started sleeping on the sofa and people are judging his decision. So he's gone online to ask people for their opinion. And he's saying, is he really an a-hole for leaving the matrimonial bed in favor of his health, or so he thinks? Now, he's 33. He revealed the wedge it had placed in his actual marriage, hoping it would, sort some of the solutions in the comments. Sorry if he put it online. But his wife had argued the whole ordeal was actually unnecessary. And he said he's proud that his wife is a gynecologist and whose daily toll actually includes long nights at the hospital. And that he further added that she wore gloves, she regularly scrubbed, and even took precautions to avoid any contamination, ensuring the highest standards of hygiene was rigorously adhered to. Unfortunately, the husband still felt uneasy on his views and put the matter out there and saying that it's a divided home and there's some conflict. Now, basically, she's saying that she cleans quite well at work. She scrubs up at work and he wants her to come home and have an additional shower by the time she gets home. And she's saying she doesn't need to have a shower because she's obviously sorted that out at work. She showered, she's scrubbed down, and she's saying, I don't think so. And then also, she's mentioned that she's been recently exposed to a lot of bodily fluids during her workday. And he's saying while he's proud of her for doing such an important job, he's uncomfortable with the idea of sleeping in the same bed without her showering first. And she doesn't want to shower before he goes to bed. What do you think? Is he overreacting, do you reckon?
Well, I mean, if she cleans herself up at work, I mean, some people are very much OCD like that. They have to wash their hands, shower, and some people want that. I don't know. I mean, if she cleans herself at work and she has a shower before she comes home, and then she wants to get in bed, if she cleans herself at work, well, there's not much damage done, isn't it? It depends on the person, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, I think it depends on the person and their hygiene routines or what.
Well, if she's not smelling, and she comes to bed and there's she's not. I don't really see a problem, really, is it?
I suppose it's not just about that. He's talking about cross-contamination, obviously. And the fact that she's saying that she's been exposed to all sorts. I can understand why he feels uneasy. And of course, even though you've showered and scrubbed, you're still walking through the hospital. You're still walking past people that are still in the hospital. So there is that kind of threat of contamination being there. So I understand his cause there. I do understand. It's like working in a funeral parlor, I suppose, and saying that you don't want to shower after you come home, or working as a dustbinman and saying that you shower after work and then when you come home you're still smelling of it and refusing to shower again. I don't know.
Well, I mean, he's got a point there, and it's a difficult one because obviously it's a personal thing, isn't it? Some people don't mind, and some people think, well, they've they're not gonna catch anything or whatever. And there's some people that are just OCD like that, so it's a bit of a difficult one.
Yep. And Susan E. Simpson says she's obviously forgetting what germs. Good morning, by the way. She's obviously forgetting what germs she can catch on her journey home. And she's also said, "Oh man, go bathe."
Oh
So
my
that's a
God, yeah.
message for the young lady out there. You got to go and bathe, hun. You really do. I mean, I would if my husband wasn't happy with it. Yeah, you just would, coming from a hospital with all sorts of cross contaminations and infections, E. coli. What's that one that kills you? Stone cold dead. That infection you can get only from MSR, MSRA. That
MSRA.
one as well. So you should. You need to really scrub up properly and wash again when you get home. I don't care. I don't care. Anyway, I hope you guys have had a really good Easter. Did you guys eat lots of Easter eggs? I don't like chocolate, so I don't eat any Easter eggs. But you've got all sorts of people doing all sorts of stuff for Easter, right? They get excited over Easter. They want new things to promote for Easter. Well, Subway went one better.
Before you go any further about Easter, it's Jack's Happy's birthday today.
Oh,
Today, Easter Monday, yeah.
it's also my sister's birthday today.
Is it your sister's birthday too? Happy birthday, Sonia.
Yeah, it's the 10th of April, isn't it? If I'm right.
Oh,
Yes, it is.
didn't
It's her
even know.
birthday today. Yep.
Blessing birthdays, blessings.
And good morning, Kimmy. Flingfoot Kimmy. I love her name. I should change my name to HPQ. HP Flingfoot
Flingfoot.
Q.
No, it don't go.
HP
Only
Flingfoot
Kimmy
Q.
carries off that one there.
She
Carries
does,
that
doesn't
one.
she? And good morning to everybody else in the chat. I see Garfield in there. Good morning, sir. Good morning to you. But coming on back to Easter, and if you've got children, you've got Easter eggs that you want to buy for them. But what about if the strangest concoctions, I suppose, for Easter eggs or for food? Now, Subway, as you know, make these sandwiches, and they're always coming up with different ideas for sandwiches that people might want, including pizza and a sandwich. I don't know, whatever. But they've come up with their Easter sandwich now. And it's an odd sandwich, and they've made it with a Cadbury's cream egg filling
No.
for
Wow.
Easter. You want to see it?
Yes, show it to us.
This is the Cadbury's cream egg sarnie, the melted chocolate treat in the UK for Good Friday. But only 500 of these sub melts were actually made, and they were being handed out for free at 4 of its restaurants. That was last week on the 7th of April. And each one will have a limited number of 6-inch sandwiches on its Italian white bread. Now, they came up with the idea and approached Cadbury's to make the odd collaboration happen, and actually launched it last week. Now, I don't know how sales have gone. I'm going to really find out if people bought this sandwich and ate it. I don't know how many calories were in this sandwich as well, but
Holy.
a whole heap of calories. That's a heart attack, a stroke, some diabetes, and some high blood pressure thrown in for good luck in that sandwich. So just be careful out there, people. Try not to eat these big sandwiches. Although it's great, I think it should be treated as a gimmick and not so much something that they
looks more like a gimmick to me, definitely.
You reckon? No, but they
Yeah.
said 400 of it was made. It was only launched at a few of its restaurants. It was a special thing being done. So only 400 were actually being sold. So it wasn't like it was going out there on the mainstream.
Some people would
there.
like that. So people who've got sweet tooth, they would like them. People that love chocolate, they would love that.
They would.
Would that be something like that? What's that chocolate paste that they got? That chocolate butter, what's it called? Nutella? And that's quite sweet,
Nutella.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Something similar, isn't it?
I still don't get the concept of spreading chocolate on bread. I mean, I've never been a chocolate person. Now, if you tell me about sweets, especially sour sweets, I could eat a whole pack of those. 5 minutes, no problem. I know I can't eat too many of them now. They give me adult acne, so I have to be really, really careful. But chocolates, I've never really loved chocolates. Sometimes if I see it and I'll have one or two and I feel like, oh, yeah, these are nice. If there's a packet of Heroes or something, I'll munch through some of them. But I don't actively go out and buy chocolate. Not at all.
I love chocolate. I won't say eat a lot of chocolate, but I do like to have a chocolate every now and then. And putting it on bread, I would imagine it would have a kind of nice, unique taste. If you're into chocolate, what I just saw on that picture, that's too much. I mean, because I mean, Cadbury's cream egg. I mean, I can eat one of them, half of them sometimes. You know, the
Uh,
odd one or two times.
Come
Depends
on,
on
look at
my
that.
moods. Yeah, depends on my taste bud moods. But I think on a bread, on a thin slice of chocolate on bread would have quite a nice taste for someone who likes chocolates.
Mm, well,
Yeah,
we'll leave it up to the chocolate lovers. That's not for me. Sorry, I take a
yeah.
sip of my tea there. Okay, I'll bring you on to another bit of news. And before Sharky will play some more music.
So HPQ.
Sometimes
Uh,
I never understood the element of Easter where we're supposed to buy all these chocolates and feed it up with our kids
yeah,
and
where did that come from? I was talking a
make
little bit about that this
them
morning.
hyperactive. And, we're told that chocolate and sugar is not good for our kids, and we're paying a sugar tax as it is, in terms of all of our drinks being taken, all the sugar taken out, and everything is sugar free. But yet, come Easter, we're encouraged to buy these massive eggs and encourage people to scrunch through them all. So I don't get it. Sometimes I don't get the media and advertising and messaging. It's not always right, and it's not always in the best interest of yourself or your children. So it's up to
Mm.
you as parents to be really, really responsible. Like what I'm seeing some of the messages in here, and taking away the need for children to crave chocolate Easter eggs or even crave chocolate. Because don't forget, if you're not given something, you will never ever miss it.
Yeah, true.
But anyway, let's come on
Absolutely,
to some.
absolutely true. If you're not giving it, you are not definitely not gonna miss it.
You're not going to miss it, yeah.
Mm.
So I never used to give my grandson fizzy drink because I don't really keep it in the house. I don't drink fizzy drink, and I water down all my juices because of the sugar content in them. Incidentally, you don't see them reducing the sugar in these fresh fruit drinks, which have contain a lot of natural sugars also.
Mm.
But anyway, that's another subject about health. Let's bring you on to some different news now. I picked this up actually from you, Sharky. I think that you
Mhm.
sent this to me, or somebody sent this to me. But what we've often got in the news about transgendered and the discrimination that they're facing, but we are still facing a lot of discrimination um, in all sorts of industry. And quite recently, and this was in the papers, I think it was yesterday or the day before, the Ritz now, the huge hotel,
Oh
the
yes,
Ritz said
yes,
sorry after a black job seeker is banned from wearing an afro hairstyle.
yeah,
Now, Joel Jules, is what he's called, was disappointed to read that the Ritz grooming policy did not allow for afro hairstyles. And after he raised his concern, the luxury hotel apologized. Now, the great thing is that he he was applying for a job and was going to attend a face-to-face interview. Now he decided to read their dress policy because, as you know, the Ritz has got a very strict dress code whenever you go in there,
hmm
even if you want to go in there for afternoon tea. So him being a diligent fellow, good on him, read the dress code policy, and in there he found there was some small print in the staff learning that his hairstyle was not suitable. It said it will not allow spiky hair or afro style. Those were the styles that were not allowed. Um, and then he said he actually raised it with them. Now the good thing is, as I said, they've done something about it immediately. They didn't just say, "Well, that's been our policy for years, and that's what you're going to adhere to." I don't know if that policy had been in there for some time and no one's ever taken any notice of it. Whether no black people have applied for the job ever, or whether black people have applied for it and been turned down, not knowing that it could have been because of their hair. Who knows? But the fact that it's been raised, it's been dealt with is enough, but we don't know what's happened beforehand. But it's good that things are not taking years and months and weeks and highlighted in papers for people to
Mm.
do something about it. And they apologise. Whether he got the job or not, that's another thing as well. I don't even know if he got the job. Would it have been
I mean,
based on his hairstyle?
I would imagine sometimes some of the policies that they have are years old and nobody reads them, and then obviously he's obviously interested in this job and he's looking through and he's looked at this, the dress code and everything, and realized that it's been in there. Maybe people have seen it and just carried on and just not said anything, and he's just raised a concern, which is good. The good thing about it is that the company has done something about it. They did something about it straight away. That's
Yeah,
the good
but there
thing.
had been there had been some mandates for some companies to ensure that their policies were in line
Yeah.
with ensuring that there's no discrimination. I mean, they couldn't have something in there about someone being in a wheelchair. We couldn't offer you a job because you're in a wheelchair. They couldn't say that
Yeah.
about a transgendered person. I'm sure everyone's policies has now been updated in
Mm.
companies because of this new woke land that we're in. So for that to be missed out is either intentional on purpose.
Yeah.
Um, or they never ever looked at it ever.
Mm, definitely.
Yeah.
Susan said, "Change gone come." I like that. Change gone come.
But what kinds of change is going to come? That's the problem, you
Things are
know.
changing little by little. I mean, it's a lot of companies and people are making adjustments. I don't think it'll be like everything, but I do feel that change does occur little by little, but little is better than nothing, I say.
Yeah, it comes in many different formats, and let's look forward to more change. But I'd just
Mm.
like to say, actually, so we had our guest on last month, Rudy Liquid. He's coming back again this month. He's actually going to be on the Breakfast Flight Show tomorrow, joining Sharky DJ and myself on HPQ News. So we're going to have a few topics that we're going to be discussing, having some laughs and some fun. So make sure you join us tomorrow also for that show with the lovely Mr. Rudy Liquid.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yes. Well, another story that has been brought to my attention, I'll talk about one more, before I think there might even be an ad break on GY Radio.
No,
But
yeah. Oh, GY Radio. Yeah, there's one on
yeah.
GY Radio. As I always say, they have a choice. We do not have a choice, so our changes should be more important. That's what I say. Isn't that right, HPQ? Are you in agreement with me on that one?
Lee, in agreement with you. I've spoken about the transgender agenda, to be quite honest with you, and I've got some good discussions tomorrow, actually, with Rudy Liquid and yourself. Some stuff I've been reading about and researching about. And I think I briefly spoke to you about this yesterday, namely Mr. John Money. And if anybody wants to do any background research on themselves, it's called the John Joan, the John Joan case, Dr. John Money. Now, he was a renowned sexologist, a specialist in sex, but he actually was the person that coined the phrase gender identity. Because before we were just known as male or female, we didn't actually talk about genders as such and put it in a phrase. But gender identity itself was coined by him. Now, he was always interested in the research of people with genders and changing genders. And he was also involved in the surgery and to do with, I mean, this was around the 1950s, okay? And back in the 1950s, you had intersex children or children you couldn't determine the sex of. And back then, without all of this stuff, knowing what's going on, they used to think about what they thought best for the child, what they thought the best chances of the sex was, and do that for them. That's what they would do. And that's kind of like the early beginnings of gender reassignment. And by the way, it's not called gender reassignment anymore. It's called gender affirmation. They've taken away the word gender reassignment. It's gender affirmation now. So they're affirming their gender by this whole change. And there's two sorts. There's top and there's bottom surgery, which is either breast implant or breast removal, genital implant, genital change or removal as such. Okay. Now, Dr. John Money was involved in a very controversial case. He was a very renowned doctor, and there was a family. She had twin boys, and they suffered from a particular issue with their genital parts. I'm not going to go into it in detail. It's far too early in the morning to be talking about that, but they did. And when they went to have surgery, the doctor was supposed to use a scalpel, and he didn't. He cauterized the genital parts, which burnt it to such a degree it just couldn't be, it wasn't functional. So the mother then contacted this infamous Dr. John Money, who worked at the same hospital, and he suggested that they bring her up as a girl. They were 8 months old. They suggested that they have surgery and turn him into a girl because obviously the genitalia they couldn't do anything with. And so they did this experiment with these twins, and they brought him up as a girl. They did not tell him that he was a boy. They didn't tell the brother that he was a boy, and they didn't tell anybody, and brought him up as a girl, gave him puberty blockers and all sorts of therapy along the years. And this doctor kept an eye on both of them. And they were made to come and see this doctor all throughout the years of their life. And this boy was never told. However, he struggled with his identity because he felt inside he was a boy and that something wasn't quite right. And I think the doctor was trying the experiment of nature versus nurture. in that gender is not assigned to you at birth, and that it's something that could be modeled depending on the society that you're in. That's what they're saying, right? And he tried this controversial experiment with these two twin boys, and unfortunately they committed suicide at the age of 30, both brothers. The boy eventually found out. His father sat him down and told him at the age of 14, when he refused to go back to therapy with this Dr. John Money, because apparently he was a pedophile as well and was getting the brothers to do all sorts of things on camera. So he was the one that actually kind of started up gender reassignment and set up the paperwork to state why children should have surgery, or provide the background and the confirmations that it's okay for this sort of surgery to happen for kids. So he's actually paved the way for when this all started. And other things I've been reading about the transgender agenda is that now on the government website, and this is all very true, that if they are going through gender affirmation, I'm going to use the proper terminology here, they are entitled to sick days off work without question. And if the appropriate employer doesn't give them the time off because they're having transition medical checkups or doctor's appointments, anything to do with that, they can take off sick and the employer has to grant it to them. So I'm talking about their agenda is so fast moving, it's unbelievable. Do we just have this naturally for people going through mental health? What about women that are going through menopause? We've been fighting for rights in terms of what we go through and our hot flushes and wanting to see the doctors. And what about parents with children that suffer when they have to take time off when they're at school, or their school is on strikes and things like that, and they don't get the time off? So these are the things that I suppose that disturb me a little bit. It's not about their agenda. It's not about trying to come off of that cause, but it's making it equal for everybody. And it's being pushed too much. And I've been reading another thing about social contagions, and we're going a bit too deep for this morning. But yes, definitely, it's a conversation to be had. It's to John Money. And Sharky, you're doing something. But let me come on to something else before you come back on.
Yes, I've got some kind of malfunction going on here. As you can see, I am now holding my microphone.
I know. I was talking away there, seeing you there,
and I was thought, listening.
Okay. No, I was just hoping that you'd come back in time. That's all right.
I'm back. Want some music?
Yes, please. That was.
It is.
Anyway, so last week I kind of brought you details of what something stood for, and kind of trying to work out other acronyms that I don't understand where they came from. So even ASDA, our supermarket, local supermarket ASDA. Do you know what ASDA stands for, or how the name came about?
No idea. I'm sure you're going to tell us.
There's always some interesting reasons to how these names came up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was a gentleman called Peter Asquith, right? Mm-hmm. And he was looking for a company to take over his in-store butchery operations. So he made contact with a gentleman called Noel Stockdale at a place called Associated Dairies. And it was the beginning of a retail partnership. And on the 3rd of May, 1965, ASDA was born. That's Asquith, A-S-Quith, and Dairies, D-A. And that was the birth of ASDA.
Wow.
You didn't know that, did you?
No, I had no idea.
Don't let me start telling jokes again,
So you can try
I might
get
just
me to
do
laugh
that
again, huh?
Yeah, I do want to do that, actually. I'll do that tomorrow, actually, with Rudy.
You do it with Rudy. Yeah, see if you can get Rudy to laugh.
Yeah, I will do, actually. I will do. We'll do the joke. We'll do the joke power.
So for
5
those of
minutes
you who don't know, HPQ comes out with some of these terrible jokes sometimes and tries to get us to laugh. Well, they're not terrible, but I keep a straight face. But I'm very good at keeping a straight face. So we're going to do this to Rudy Liquid, see if he can keep a straight face. But
yeah,
he may not be able to. Talking about ASDA's, the name, I know what Co-op stands for. Do the research on Co-op. That one was very interesting, how Co-op started. And it's got a very interesting story behind it. So I do know about Co-op. But while you're doing that, you can look at that while we play music here. What else have you got for us?
Okay, so in the news this morning, this is fun. Now, sometimes we take it seriously in terms of racism and discrimination. Sometimes just feel it's really, really unnecessary. Now, 5 officers went in to seize a collection of Gollywog dolls from a family pub.
I read about that this morning. I said to myself, I wonder if you're going to pick up on that.
Yeah, yeah. Dolls at an Essex pub were seized because their presence was a suspected hate crime. Now, there was an anonymous tip-off to the police, and a complaint was
Hmm.
made, and five police officers, five, sorry, I'm putting up 10, five police officers came in, right, to seize 15 dolls because of their suspected hate crime. And Suella Braverman actually spoke out about this and said to have been furious about this and said it was a complete waste of police time to send five officers in to seize some dolls. So Essex police were
Ridiculous.
told off, absolutely told off. Now, what do you think about that? Do you think that, number one, do you think it's a hate crime with the dolls? Number two, did it need police officers going in, let alone five police officers going in to seize the dolls? What do you think? I mean, me
I don't think it
personally,
is.
gollywogs uh, are something that were banned because of their connotations to black people. We know this.
Yeah,
Um, but now I think some people have got them and they're used as a collector's item. And that's exactly what they should be. If you've got them and they're a collector's item, please keep them in your homes. I don't think something like that should be all out there to display because of the meaning behind it. I don't think it should have been reported to the police, but apparently these owners have been asked before to take down these dolls and they haven't. This was way back
hmm,
in 2018. So if you've got a member of public or somebody who's offended by it, it's down to the duty of the pub to do something about it. And the fact that they haven't sends a message that, well, we don't think these dolls are offensive. Well, they are offensive. They are
mm,
offensive, bottom line.
they
It
are
didn't take five
definitely.
police officers to go in and arrest them or seize the dolls or whatever the case may be. But yeah, now there's a fight for them to come back because I think the dolls are worth £1,000 each or sold. But
They
lesson learnt there for
definitely
these
worth.
owners.
I was gonna say definitely worth a lot more money now.
Well, if they're worth that amount of money, why have you just got them out on display?
No
I wouldn't
idea.
have them out on display. Definitely not. Should have just kept them somewhere. But I looked at, because obviously this is actually on the Daily Mail, and the Daily Mail, as we know, is always just kind of like a one-sided paper, and I'm always interested to look at the comments on some of these stories just to see where the racists are.
Hmm.
And yep, they came all out in their fancy brigade, saying it's nonsense, it's woke gone mad again, and all sorts of things. And some people will just never realize that some people are offended about things. They just won't get
Yeah,
it and never will get it. But we just got to come into the times now whereby if people are offended, we've got to do something about it, right? It's not just plain
absolutely.
old banter or just sending a message on social media anymore. If you've offended someone, these things could happen. You could get arrested, right? And thrown into
Yeah,
jail
yeah.
for being that
Dash them
way.
in there, yes.
So let me just
Oh
bring you
dear.
a little piece of maybe good news before Sharky plays another track. But remember PPI?
Yes,
Did you claim on PPI?
I did. I did. Got a
Okay.
few
So
thousand
the
actually.
PPI
Yeah.
deadline may have passed. That's all passed now. If you haven't claimed for your PPI, you're not going to get it. But 38 billion, if I'm reading this right. It's not even 38 million, so it's got to be 38 billion was paid out for PPI
Wow.
claims. Now, apparently, there's an extra claim you can get off PPI that people didn't know about, and there's a tax element. Now, a refund of PPI was paid to you, and I think you was charged at interest, and you claimed the statutory interest back. And 1/3 of that was liable to be taxed, and that's normally shown on your payout statement. And some events it wasn't. So if you were paid statutory interest, you can request a certificate back from the firm that paid you PPI, which can then tell you the tax, how much tax was deducted, and that you should be able to claim the tax
The tax back.
back.
Ooh. So that's another lot of money that's coming back to people.
Yeah. Since April
You,
2016, far more people have been owed tax back. Yeah. Sorry, I was just reading something else there. So, yes, you can claim the tax element back from the PPI claims that were done. So, if you've got, and I believe you can only go back, yeah, the tax you can reclaim on payouts are only from the 6th of April 2019. So if you've had any payouts pre 2019, pre April the 6th, 2019, unfortunately, you won't be able to try and claim back for the tax. But if you've done any PPI claims from since the 6th of April 2019, please write to the companies. Tell them you want a breakdown of the statement showing the statutory interest applied and the tax that was taken off. And if there was that tax element on there, you can apply to have that tax back. So yes, that's in the last, what, 4 years? 4 years? So yes.
There's another claim that people can make if people are not aware is if you've had a diesel car. I think it goes back from 2013 or 2011 or something like that. They missold a lot of the diesel cars saying that it was environmental friendly, and it wasn't. So we paid a lot of money out, and there is a claim that people are now, there's companies that have been set up to, you just put in your registration number, and if your car falls under this, especially if you bought a new car, there's quite a few thousands that you can actually get back from the companies. But what I'm looking for is how to do it yourself, because a lot of these companies, when they'd say, yeah, just sign here, and if we make a claim, if you don't, there's nothing lost. It's that if you do get a claim, they normally take between sort of 25 and 33% of your money, chasing that, when you can actually do it yourself. So if you had a diesel car, we can look into that one and how to claim back for diesel car money, not without a company. A lot of companies will come up, but you can just do it yourself. So there we go.
Okay, and with this one, all you need to do is go to HMRC and download something called an R40 form, and you can fill that in to see how you can claim your tax back on PPI. And I would encourage anybody, if you're due for any kind of compensation, you should really be claiming it. Now, this applies to trains also. I know someone that made a complete living out of this, and I tried it for a while, but I got bored, and train companies hope that you do this. But if your train is, you can get a full refund if your train journey is cancelled.
Before we go into that, let's just jump into this break first. It's just coming up towards 8 o'clock, or 9 o'clock, I should say.
9 o'clock?
Yes.
How time flies when you're having fun.
Let's have a break, and then we'll talk about that right up. It's okay.
No problem. But we were talking about getting refunds. One of the things I experienced, especially when I used to travel into London all the time for work, was trains were always delayed or cancelled. And you can get a refund if they're running a certain amount of time late. Is it half an hour or 3 hours? Is it 3 hours? Or if it's cancelled?
I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the two. You'd have to look it up, and it varies from company to company. But you can get money back. And I used to know a prolific person that used to literally wait for trains to be cancelled or delayed so they can just claim a lot of money back from the companies, and then talk about the fact. And also, if a train is cancelled and you can't get home and you have to take a taxi home, that company will pay your taxi fare, the fare that you incurred.
Yeah, I know about that.
Yeah. Or they need to pay your fare or pay your hotel bill or anything if they've cancelled that last train, or they've stopped you from getting from one destination feasibly to another, i.e. if it's the last train and you can't get back home across country. So please remember that, people, in terms of if you're ever going on a train, it's cancelled or it's late, please always go back to the company and claim your refund. And also from TfL, if you've got an Oyster card, sign up for the journey statements, so then you can go back how many months and claim back for any fares that didn't quite tap through, because sometimes you tap through thinking it's gone through, and then when you get your journey statement, you'll find that they've charged you a full fare because it hasn't gone through and you haven't actually taken any notice whatsoever. So it's a really good idea to check your statements. Yeah, definitely check your statements all the time. Sign up for your journey planners and check. It's important.
Okay. Definitely one to think about. But because I've never really paid train fares or anything like that, I can't claim back really for anything. There's not much I can claim back for.
You've never really paid train fares. That's so unfair. So
well, I've worked in the industry for many years, and as I've left the industry, I was able to keep my staff pass so I can travel London free and all that, and I get a discount, a massive discount on the railway as well. I mean, to go to Wolverhampton is like about 16 quid return. Yeah, so there, benefits, isn't it?
Definitely
Anyway,
benefits of working with the those employers anyway. So it should have been something I thought about that and being a veterinary surgeon. Because last week my cat Willow, started having
that cat.
nosebleeds. And I mean her nose was just dripping blood. It was in her water bowl, it was in her food, it was everywhere. And she was having nosebleeds. And then she was coughing away, literally retching all the time to a point where she couldn't breathe, and she was in such a state of uncomfortableness. I had to take her to an emergency vet. £1,500 later, the cat's throat is cleared, nose is cleared, cat's okay. Cat's back to being a cat.
Cat's back to being the cat and expensive. Good morning, DJ Pablo is up at 10 o'clock.
Listen, I was talking to a
Right.
friend of mine yesterday, and she was talking about her cat. And she said her cat got ill or something, and she paid out, I don't know, nearly, I think it was £2,000 for the vet bill. And the next week, the cat got run over and died. And she said she still had to pay the vet bill. I said, I would have been so
Oh,
upset.
man.
Imagine that you got a vet bill, £2,000 for your cat, and then the following week it gets run over and killed, and you still got this vet
Jeez.
still paying for the cat after it's gone. I'd be
You
upset.
know
I'd
what?
definitely be
That
upset with the cat and the driver.
That's what you call the cat had the last laugh. At the cat's in cat heaven, looking down, laughing. Oh man, tell you that's a definitely sad story. Let me play this track. Oh. Okay, HPQ. So what else do we have for the viewers or
Yeah, and good
listeners?
morning,
Should I
Sasha
say?
Skerritt. Good morning. I love his name, Sasha Skerritt. He's got a great name. It's got like a movie star name. Some people
It is,
have
isn't
movie star names, right?
it?
I used to work with a lady.
Yeah,
Her name was Catherine Storm, and she had a great name. I wish that was my name, Alison Storm.
Storm.
Great
It's a
name.
name, isn't it?
Sasha Skerritt. Yeah, it
Yes.
is like a movie star name.
That name
It is.
Storm is like it's like my friend she calls her nickname is Storm. She says I like that name Storm.
Oh, it's a great name. It's a very powerful name. And I just remember every time I
Extremely
speak to her, I say
powerful, isn't
Catherine
it?
Storm. Yeah. And she was
Yeah.
getting married,
Maybe I
and
should.
her husband's
To
name
go
was something like I can't remember, Toki or something crazy and
Hurricane.
boring. And she said she was keeping her name. She made her husband take her name. Or the husband said he
Oh
was fine
gosh.
with taking her name. Yeah. So
Yeah.
she kept the name
Maybe should
Storm.
just Storm DJ. How about that? If I just change my name,
Yeah,
how
Alison
would that
Storm.
sound? Storm. Change it
Yeah,
from
I might go
Starkey
for
to
Alison
Storm.
Storm. Yeah, Alison Storm.
Storm DJ. Woo.
Sounds good. Right, so let's go into some formal news. Now, the Home Office has admitted that there's no evidence to support key claims on small boat crossings. So basically, it's got no justification for its crackdown on small boat crossings. Now, as Home Secretary in 2021, Priti Patel told Parliament that 70% of individuals on small boats are single men who are effectively economic migrants. Now, an economic migrant is someone who emigrates from one region to another, including crossing international borders, because of job opportunities, right? Conditions in their own country are not great, so they've come over to another country to earn some cash and for some job opportunities. So, right? So Priti Patel said 70% of individuals on small boats are these economic migrants. Now, in December last year, with the number of small boat arrivals continuing to increase, okay, Suella Braverman backed the assertion, saying that there's considerable evidence that people are coming here as economic migrants illegally. However, via a Freedom of Information request to support Priti Patel's claim, the Home Office admitted it had none. Its response, dated back into March 20th, 2023, a year after the request was sent, states, "We have carried out a thorough search and we have established that the Home Office does not hold the information requested." So what did the former Home Secretary get this 70% of economic migrants coming into the country? Where did that come from?
I lie, them I tell lie.
They're telling lies.
Yeah.
So the Home Office own data confirms that most of the people who reached the UK by small boat in 2022, at least 6 in 10 would be recognised as refugees. So that doesn't account for the 70%. Refugees is completely different from economic migrants. Refugees are people coming from countries that are war torn, and their life is in danger, and they've got no choice but to leave the country of their home. Economic migrant is choosing to leave because they think it's not good enough and coming over for further job opportunities. Now, she kind of switched these around and said economic migrants were on the increase and were more than refugees, but by its own data that they've got in terms of the processes that they've gone through for refugee statuses, we're realizing that the numbers are absolutely incorrect. So the government is failing to justify its economic migrant argument completely and utterly. And it comes days after Rishi Sunak, an immigration minister, were rebuffed by the UK statistics watchdog for using inaccurate figures about asylum seekers. So the Home Office is attempting to manipulate all the data coming in when they don't have any data.
They don't have no data. Do you know what I think we should put Pretty Prepared? I think we should send her to Rwanda. What do you reckon?
I think so. I think so. And Suella Braverman just causes outrage left, right, and centre. And she said last November, if Labour were in charge, they would be allowing all the Albanian criminals to come into this country. And of the 45,000 people who arrived by small boats, 28% were Albanian. So charities argue that asylum seekers from Albania travel to the UK primarily because of poverty and corruption, and that many are viciously exploited after arriving.
Yeah, terrible, isn't it?
It is. But they're obviously getting their numbers incorrect. Where they're getting their numbers from is unbelievable about the economic migrant situation and the asylum seekers. And this is what I mean by the newspapers really getting recording information accurately, or getting information out there inaccurately to the masses, because the media will make us to believe that we've got a refugee crisis or an asylum seeker crisis, and that people are coming in via the boats, via the thousands, and we can't possibly do anything about it. A bit like the COVID hospitals. You know, we need all these hospitals built because they're going to be full, whereas in reality, they were never that full to capacity like how the papers were actually advertising. And I saw another article the other day about the war in Russia as well. The media news depicted that this town had been blown up and there was all sorts of things going on. And the person then moved it from the TV that they said that this was happening to outside of their flat, which has a direct view onto the square, and it was all peaceful.
You know what?
Wake up with SharkyDJ and HPQ News.
Sorry, I'm just deciding which.
Looks like you're lost for words.
I am lost for a little bit of words.
Too many stories, isn't it? Too many things to talk about.
Too much to talk about. One of the things I actually want to talk about is this interesting story that appeared last week in this particular artwork. We were discussing this yesterday. Now, there's an infamous artist called Miriam Khan. Okay. And she's quite a controversial artist. I was having a look at some of her portraits this morning, and a lot of them are sexualized in their depictions. Maybe there's a message that she's sending out there, but the sexuality and the graphic details in her portraits, I'm sure they will say it's only serving as creative art. But yeah, maybe I don't understand art enough to define what some of these pictures mean and what they're trying to say. But I think sometimes they have a responsibility to educate people as well as call it art. But there's a fine line between art, education, and what can I say? Clarity. Things need to be transparent, I should say, when you're doing something. But again, within the realms of arts, because it's not something I understand too deeply, I can't comment upon it too much. But we do know that she had a controversial painting that everyone's in uproar about, because she's saying that it is encouraging paedophilia. Now, I'm going to show this picture up here. It might be a little bit disturbing. Sorry it's so early in the morning, but this is a controversial picture that they are talking about. Now, it looks like a guy is standing up there and a young child is bound doing something that he shouldn't be doing to this young man. And a lot of people said it was about, people talking about young children and actually what they're doing. And she's got a title to this painting. It's called F Abstraction. But I started reading about it more because I saw the video about a guy saying that these should be taken down and it's encouraging paedophilia and that it shouldn't be up there, and her work is, working with paedophiles. But there's been an actual explanation to that at the same time, saying that it's all about war crimes. And what happens during war is that young children and females are the ones that are first to be attacked, and that person kneeling down wasn't a young child. I think it was supposed to be genderless or whatever, but she's not trying to encourage paedophilia. I think she's just trying to show human rights crimes. Every time there's war, there's sexualized violence against children and women, and she's highlighting this work through her paintings. Now, obviously, a lot of people have reconstructed it as paedophilia, and it's difficult. And from what she said of it, she said, of the painting, she said, this is a person whose hands are tied, raped before being killed and thrown into the street. The repetition of violence during wars is intended to shock, but not denounce. So you've got many saying that it's an exploitation of children. She's saying it's in the name of art, war, and inhumanity, highlighting inhumanity. I'll leave it up to everybody else what they think. But I encourage everybody to go and have a look at the article, have a look at the painting, have a look at some of her work. Actually, the likes of this lady's work, and just come up to your own conclusions about what you think. But we do need to have freedom of speech. We do need to have people that will be able. I mean, look at Madonna. I mean, if you're talking about someone who's got freedom of speech, Madonna's that person. What's that controversy? Piers Morgan, another person that likes to speak how he wants to. And Katie Hopkins, another person that says it how it is. Now, Mike P, thanks so much for joining the show from Carry On Comedy. And he says, in my opinion, she should have painted the man in an army uniform and the person kneeling in a suitable clothing to depict the war crime. You're right. The picture actually looks like a child.
I agree with that one.
Yeah, definitely agree. Yeah. The child looks...
Very good point, Mike.
Yeah, if you look at the article, look at it again, there's no such uniform. It doesn't look like it's depicting war. There's no bombs, no aeroplanes, no nothing going off. And they look like children. They don't look like women.
And they look like a sofa there. It looks like a sofa in the background as well.
Yeah,
and
it does.
On his right hand, what's that on his right hand there? Is right
he's
hand.
Bound. Oh, he's holding another child down.
Exactly, it looks like he's holding another. Yeah, I mean, let's get rid of that. The picture looks horrible. Yeah,
it does. But just to let you know that this is something that's in the dominating the news at the moment, I encourage you to go and have a look. Is it art, or is it simply?
There's something going on there. Something, as you always say, there's something going on there. The Breakfast Flight Show, HPQ. Did you like that track? It would help if you unmute yourself.
And tinkling and in the morning. It's nice. I like it.
Isn't it? Yeah. Sometimes you just got to do something just a little bit different.
I think so. Nice. Whilst you're doing the
something
advertising.
A bit different. Yeah. talking about what's going on. And are you looking forward to Iron Appa?
I am actually. It's the first time I'm going. I missed off from the first year, so this is my first year going. So look out for my review, Mike P.
Yeah, we'll do a review and we'll go around and have a look and see what's going on. Yep.
Proper review, Mike.
And it's going to be live, guys. So it will be live on SharkyDJ's Mixcloud, and I'm not sure where else, but we are. Hey, Martin Winter's going to be live everywhere. Facebook. So
make sure you roll out the red carpet, Mike. Because I'm going to be doing some live chats, some live interviews down there, direct
Grab
from
some of the key
from Iron Appa.
Yes, definitely.
Be on point now. HPQ's coming. No, seriously, looking forward to it. Actually, really am. I love comedy as well. Love to laugh. So looking forward to having this week of laughter. That's all I want to do is laugh for a whole week and enjoy some sunshine and good fun around good people.
I've never really been a big comedy person, and I can still say I'm not really a big comedy. But I must admit, there was one young lady I can't remember her name. I think she was from South Africa. She was funny, and she was what's the word? She was straight-faced. What's that? Dry
poker
comedian.
Face?
No, not poker face. Dry comedian. Like they just have a straight face and that. But she was telling some funny jokes. I really liked her. I never heard of her before, but yeah, she was good.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it
She was
anyway.
good. She was
I'm
really
not going
good.
to sit in the front row. Just learn that. Don't sit in the front row. I'm not going to be picked on.
And tomorrow morning we got Rudy Liquid on as well. So he's on the show. He's on the show once a month now, and he's going to be one of the hosts, the comedy hosts up over there in Napa. So yeah, yeah, we can get him on as well.
Yeah, definitely. So we've got Rudy Liquid coming on once a month here, and then of course he's going to be on Carry On Comedy. So it'd be good to speak to him
Yeah,
down there too. So that'd be
yeah,
good.
we will
And
definitely.
Sharky, you've got an echo.
Oh, have I got an echo? Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorted.
it's okay. Okay, thanks.
All right.
Right. So, and Mike has come back and said the comedian's name pronounced Tenjaway.
Tenjaway.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you have
She was
any
good.
links? Do you have any social media links? It'd be good to see her in action.
Yeah, I saw on social media somewhere. I can't remember. She was funny. She was good. You know, and you know the thing about it is you get a lot of the comedians. Obviously, we have a lot of comedians that are out there that we listen to all the regular ones, like the top ones, like Judy Love Slim and Rudy Liquid and all these ones. But when you get a comedian who you don't know, and sometimes you see people looking for, okay, well, what are you going to bring to the table? And they are funny,
Like me.
like yourself, yeah, telling
So,
your jokes.
so Mike, by the way, Mike, I am a comedian in the making, and tomorrow I'm going to be telling my jokes. So, anytime you want to invite me for Carry On Comedy to do some stand-up, I'll be available. My rates are good, also, and my jokes are funny. So, watch tomorrow for the HPQ comedy 5-minute section.
Do you know what I'm actually going to do? I'm actually going to drag him on the show. I'm actually going to get him on in one of the mornings and we talk about INAP just before we go. Yeah, that's what we'll do.
Definitely. We'll get you on, Mike. That'll be good. But anyway, let me just come to some news. I've got a couple of last bits of news before I hand the reins over to Sharky completely to take for the rest of the show. And then we'll have obviously DJ Pablo on afterwards. Now, this is the problem why I don't sleep, probably why I've got bags under my eyes. I'm always on TikTok reading for news and conspiracy theories and all sorts of things. And there was a lady on that was talking about the mobile phone alert, the government emergency service alert that's happening that everyone's up in arms about. And by the way, you can disable this alert. Go to the government website. There are instructions on how to disable this alert from your phone. And this propaganda that's coming from the media saying that your phone is going to freeze up and you won't be able to use anything else, override the program. Okay, go in and override the program. I'm going to send the links into HPQ News on WhatsApp, where you can find the link to be able to disable your phone from this emergency services alert that's coming out. Don't make the media fool you into thinking you have to have your phone switched on and ready to receive this alert. I'm still wondering where the government got all our telephone numbers from. How did they get everyone's numbers in the UK? How did that happen?
From the companies. But thinking about it, if there's going to be a major disaster, let's just say in your area there's flooding, yeah, and they use this to warn you that there's a flooding in your area, and is it such a bad thing really? And it's what they're going to use it for. I mean, if they're just going to use it for information like a natural disaster or a disaster coming, like say for instance a big fire or something like that, or a nuclear weapons coming from nuclear bombs coming from Russia or something like that, and it's a warning, okay, and telling you what to do. Is it such a bad thing really?
No, it isn't such a bad thing. And what if you don't own a mobile phone? So you've got to understand that.
If you don't own one, you don't own one.
Okay, but what medium are they going to use to communicate then? So whatever medium they're going to use, it should be a general one that applies to everybody, that everybody has access to, because there are some people that don't have mobile phones or smartphones, by the way, and old people that can't use mobile phones and things like that. So there has to be other ways of communicating emergency services. And I think we have a reliance on technology way too much beyond our control. I was reading an article about this lady that pulled her kids out of school because she said there was becoming a reliance of them using an iPad. Now, I'm all for technology. Am I all for a child sitting on an iPad 24 hours a day? They use it at school and then they come home and then they're exposed to the internet and all this social media without real warnings. TikTok has had a 12 million fine for not clamping down on people being able to get details from children on its platform, or children being able to log on without proper authority of their age. So yeah and no, it's difficult. Do I want to be alerted about a war that's coming in 5 minutes. What are you going to do in 5 minutes? How long
There's
is the
nothing.
warning? If a flood's coming and a big wave is going to overcome us, how long are they going to give us? A day, 2 days, 3 days, an hour, 15 minutes?
I don't know, but I just think personally that is a matter of opinion. I mean, I ain't gonna be switching mine off. I don't see no harm in it. If I make the wrong decision, I make the wrong decision. But you're gonna get some that are gonna be for it, and some that is. And I just think that sometimes with the media, people are saying, yeah, do this, do that, do this, do that. And I just think that everyone should just have their own opinion and make their own decisions. And I will not be switching mine off.
Yeah, it's not about towing the line. But I think in some respects, I think the government do some underhand things that I don't always agree with. And we don't know what they're using this data for. And they can assure us till the cows come home, we would not have GDPR and data protection laws if people weren't doing funky things with our data. We all know that data is almost like a commodity now. It sells for a lot of money. If someone has a database of data, like these loyalty cards, for example, we sign up for these loyalty cards and we think, oh, we're getting all these benefits. But they sell the data. They imagine all the demographics that they have on you in one loyalty card. They know where you live. They know where you shop. They know how you shop. They know what times you shop. They know what types of food you buy. So they know what type of diet you've got. And they put this through logarithms over a year or 2 years and can work out in a demographic area what people are spending, what they're spending it on, and so forth. So they collect data, they sell data. Mobile phone companies sell your data. And for the amount of times that we've been hacked, we know they sell your data. So what is the government going to do with our data? There's no protection around it at all. I don't believe in it. No one can tell me that my data is protected. It isn't. It's out there, and I've just got to put up with the fact that someone's going to do something with it. I just got to take time and block any of that that's coming in towards me.
Well, if that's the case for me, people might as well shut down their Facebook account, shut down the Instagram, shut down the Twitter, shut down every other thing that comes with it, because people put their own data, people put stuff out there. Oh, I'm here, I'm this here, I'm at this location. And the biggest data knowledge out there, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those things, TikTok.
That's exactly what happened to
Then you
Kim
might as well
Kardashian.
shut down everything.
Remember that happened to Kim Kardashian, right? She advertised that she was in France. She advertised all this gold jewelry she had, all these jewels, and what happened?
Robbed.
Someone came in and she got robbed. Now, whether she got robbed or not, we don't know, because Kanye owed some money back then, didn't he? He owed a lot of money back then. He wasn't in billionaire status, and people like to say they got a lot more money than what they actually have. So you never know. And she recovered from that quite quickly afterwards and got more TV footage out of that. But anyway, coming on to technology, there's a reason why I spoke about mobile phones. Now, as I said, I was watching some videos and this lady was talking about this controversial government phone thing. But she also spoke about street lighting. And it made me do a little bit of research into this, because she said, quietly over COVID, all our street lighting was changed. Did anyone notice that? Our street lighting moved from normal kind of lighting, the old kind of style, to these LED street lamps. And we were sold upon the idea that the old ones weren't energy efficient and were costing councils a lot of money. And so they've got these lovely new LED ones. Some of them are solar powered or whatever. And they could be better for us in the near future. However, these LEDs actually have the technology that enables vehicles to communicate with LEDs. Closed circuit TV and wireless technology can communicate with some of these LED lighting, and it also can be enabled into the infrastructure if it's not in there already. Now, a proof of this concept, there was a trial on this intelligent street lighting, as they called it. It was carried out on the M40 junction 15 Longbridge roundabout near Birmingham. Okay, now drivers would have been oblivious to CCTV and communications technology hidden away in this street lamp, as it was installed when the lights were switched to improved greener LED lighting. Now, this trial took place over 5 months last year and successfully proved the concept that technology was able to communicate data to the office equipment and tablet computers. Now, the knowledge gained in this trial will be used to shape National Highway Strategy for managing connected and autonomous infrastructure. It's called CAV. All right. So, guys, understand that our LED lighting is now going to have wireless technology or being built to enable to have that infrastructure to be able to communicate with cars, to be able to communicate with your mobile phones wirelessly. Is this a good thing or is this dangerous?
It's dangerous, but the thing about it is they are putting it all out there, right? Everywhere you go, right? You look in London, you see CCTV cameras here, CCTV cameras. They can track you from you leave your house, doesn't matter what you do, change your clothes, change cars to wherever you are. Hence the reason why they're catching a lot of criminals and stuff like that. So this technology that they have as they implement all this stuff, there's nothing that we can do. If we spend our time thinking about, gosh, they got this, they got that, we're not going to have a life. To me, I don't like it, but what can I do about it? What can we do about it? Even if we all were to say, you know what, we're going to go on strike, we're going to protest, they're still going to use it. That's the government for you. It's nasty move. It's big, like as Susan says, Big Brother. It's getting worse. Definitely.
And it's called a digital roads journey. So basically, with the fact that street lighting has wireless or camera technology, CCTV, the putting up of expensive CCTV will no longer be needed, and will track you from the minute you leave your house all the way to your end journey. So yeah, Big Brother is definitely watching it. In some respects, it's good, right? Because you can capture proper criminals, people that are doing stuff. I expect them to use that for that, but not for the unscrupulous stuff that they may use it for. And we all know that the police force is not whiter than white, with all these news coming out of what they're doing. That's another subject I'm going to bring up tomorrow, is some of these police officers and what they've been caught doing and how some of them have been escaping and getting away. For a long time, we've been talking about how there's, institutionalized racism within the police force. It's there and it needs to be rooted out. Something really needs to be done about it. It's too much now. It really is.
I mean, I've been looking at a lot of stuff on YouTube, stuff with the police, and that is ridiculously. I mean, people don't, as soon as you see the police uniform, you think, yeah, savior. But some of them are the biggest criminals around, I'm telling you. And on that note, we've got about 12 minutes left. Let's play a track.
Before you play a track, because I'm going to sign off after this and let you just finish off the show with the last 10 minutes. So I'm going to let you go. And I just want to say thank you very much, guys. We're back tomorrow with Rudy Liquid. I'm sure Sharky will give you all the details. But don't forget, Ladies' Night this Thursday with HPQ and Dave Tollier from Men at Large. Virtual couch on Sunday. I'll give you all more details tomorrow. Thank you.
Lovely. No more news for us today.
That's it. Till tomorrow. Okay. Look forward to tomorrow.
Till tomorrow morning. Okay.
Saving the rest of it till tomorrow.
Okay, there we go. And thank you, HPQ. As